So the aims of ONDRI 2.0 are really going to be to build on what we've accomplished in ONDRI 1 and extend it. So ONDRI 1 has been a really detailed, deep characterization across neurodegenerative diseases, where we're interested in understanding differences between diseases, but even within diseases, differences on all sorts of different markers that help us understand why some people do very well and others don't. So the first being develop the longitudinal markers and the cross-sectional markers from ONDRI 1 and maximize the investment and the time that our patients have given and all the efforts that have gone into ONDRI 1. The second being converting those into broad-scale use. The third being developing collaborations to validate our findings and to validate other people's findings in this global fight against neurodegeneration. And then the fourth really being knowledge translation and systems evaluation to change outcomes.
So we will continue the longitudinal components of the study going forward into ONDRI 2.0, but we will be cutting down on the different patients and measurement platforms, so it'll be a sort of leaned out way that we measure the patient behavior, but we will base that on the results from ONDRI 1.0, and we will move forward with the best pieces that are showing us change over time with the different patient cohorts.
Our second aim is to take this really deep characterization that we've done, and we want to try to pull out the best markers, the most efficient markers, to see if we can convert these into feasible, scalable indicators that could be used where patients are, where people live, so in primary care or potentially at home. The third aim is to say, can we validate what we've done in ONDRI 1 with collaboration? And so this validation by collaboration aim is to look at broader disease cohorts. So can we take aspects of what we've done and compare them to similar cohorts?
One cohort that I'm particularly interested in, and I think is very important, is bringing this back to people who are at risk. Can we identify the people who have the highest risk of converting and developing a neurodegenerative disorders and figuring out how these biomarkers predict that? I think this is very important, and this is key because if new treatments are being developed, it would be optimal to try to give these treatments to people before they develop the disease.
There's a real push for global collaboration because these diseases are so important and so universal that no one site is going to solve this alone. And that's really where the validation through collaboration comes in. And the fourth aim is to see if we can actually impact outcomes directly through systems evaluation and through understanding the impact on dementia on health service utilization within Ontario. Can we help prevent admissions? Can we explore differences in between sexes? So are men and women affected differently and impacted and cared for differently in our population? Within that fourth aim, there would also be a component of knowledge translation. Can we work with patient advocacy groups like the Alzheimer Society, the Parkinson Society, the Heart and Stroke Foundation, who are really strong partners with ONDRI, to take the expertise and the knowledge both developed within ONDRI but also in the general literature and help it be applied within Ontario. One of the most important aspects of ONDRI is that it's really brought together clinicians and researchers from across Ontario, so trying to break down geographic and institutional barriers, but also breaking down the scientific and medical barriers, because there are silos that people who study stroke don't necessarily get to talk to people who study Alzheimer's disease, who don't get to spend a lot of time with people who study ALS very often. And bringing everybody together and bringing these disease cohorts together into one study, bringing expertise together and studying across these patient populations, across institutions, and across disciplines and strategies. So people who do detailed eye tracking measures and people who do genetics are actually all getting together and comparing their data. It's changing the culture and really catalyzing collaborations that couldn't happen without this kind of infrastructure. And that's a big, big plus that we're hoping to build on as we go into ONDRI 2 to really catalyze research within Ontario to really make world-leading impact.